When I started doing it here in the United States, the industry turned against it. They said it was too dangerous. Their air shows wouldn't hire me. People in the industry tried to put me out of business because of that.
Hey guys, BeSnappy here. I'm here with Skip Stewart, one of the most well-known aerobatic pilots in America. All right, Skip, I know you fly for the airlines. When you get into that airline jet, when you hit the thrust, do you ever want to do a knife edge down the runway?
No. I like that job. I don't want to get fired. It's a good job. No, it's completely different flying than the air show flying. It's an awesome airplane. I fly an MD-11. It's got tons of power. I mean, you take off sometimes doing 6,000 feet a minute. So yeah. I mean, it's really good at what it does, and it's very enjoyable to fly. But it's no pits. It's a lot of fun. It's an older airplane, but it's got avionics that are actually more advanced than most of the newer airplanes. I think they dumbed them down in later years. But it's got a lot of power because it has 3 engines, and so it's a lot of fun to fly. I really enjoy it.
So what is your actual flying background? What plane did you start in?
Well, my grandfather was a crop duster. So as early as I can remember, he also had a 172 for a while, and I would ride with him. He'd come pick me up for Thanksgiving and holidays, and then he got a twin Comanche. And the first time I would sit on his lap and fly like that, but. Once I was about 12 years old, he said, you're big enough to fly by yourself. I mean, without sitting on my lap. And so he took me up in a Super Cub with spray bars on it. It was a spray plane.
Oh, wow. And
he took me out like crop dusting, which was really cool. Trees got so close I was grabbing the bottom of the seat. It was scary. But then he let me fly it and do some landings in it and stuff. So that was my first experience actually flying the airplane. But all of my interest in aviation came from him. So
we just watched you do your amazing performance. So how many air shows do you actually do every year, and how many airplanes do you fly?
This year I have 22 or 23 shows booked. Most years I do between 17 and 20. Try not to do too many more than that because I'm also a FedEx pilot.
Yeah.
But I fly a very highly modified Pitts S2S. Basically, I took the frame from a factory Pitts S2S and just used that frame to build a custom airplane out of.
Yeah.
And the first one I call Prometheus 1, and I started flying it stock the first year, and then every off season back when I had one, I would do some modifications to it. So slowly, over a 5-year period of time, it became what it is now, which is all custom. I did the engine and 1 year and the cowling and the gear and the wings and then the tail, over a period of years.
What engine is in it?
It's got a AEIO 540 that's been pumped up. Stock, they're 260 horsepower. Mine's close to 400 horsepower.
Oh, wow.
There's a company in California called Lycon that does my engines for me. They do a phenomenal job. Starting in 2007, a lot of international air shows. Avalon in Australia.
Yeah.
Started doing the United Arab Emirates a couple of times. And the airplane would go over by ship. So those shows were in the winter, and it worked out okay because the airplane would leave at the end of the U.S. air show season and usually get back just in time. But then I started getting more requests for China and decided to build a second airplane. So in 2010, I bought another S2S, and I just took that one all the way down to the frame, sold everything, and built Prometheus 2 from that as one thought. And that's the airplane I have here today.
Wow.
And now Prometheus 1 pretty much lives in a shipping container and goes to the shows that I can't physically fly to. Chile, China, United Arab Emirates, things like that.
So you go to so many air shows every year. How do you live through this? How many?
I don't live. That's a good question.
Yeah.
That's a good question. I don't live through it. I mean, I do shows all over the world. If I could physically fly to the air show, I do. So I mean, this year alone, I've flown to El Salvador, Guatemala, Panama.
Wow.
And then I did Key West last weekend and this show this weekend. So this is my 5th show this year already. Say, how do I live through it? That's a good question, really, because to me, the most dangerous part of being an air show pilot is the cross country. I've had several friends who've had accidents going to an air show, probably more at the air show. But as far as me, people say, have you ever been scared in an airplane at an air show? No. On the way to an air show or the way home, many times.
And you're flying to an air show.
Yeah.
Have you ever got lost?
Never got lost. It's amazing because when I started flying 26 years ago, I didn't have a GPS. We're using paper charts. And nowadays I look back at that and I'm surprised I can get anywhere. I can't imagine having to fly like that now.
Yeah.
Now I've got a synthetic vision EPIS. It's got,
everything you need.
It looks like a beautiful day in there. It's pretty much everything you need. I don't have an ILS receiver, but it's a much different machine than I had before. I didn't even have an attitude indicator. And I was doing all this scud running back in the day. And it is amazing that I lived through all that.
Alright, so you both have a mutual friend, Paul Bennett, and he's going to be flying at Oshkosh, you're flying at Oshkosh, and you both love the knife edge. You're the best in America at it, and he's the best in Australia at it. Who's going to get lower to the ground?
I mean, if it's a contest, I have actually touched the ground, so it's impossible for him to be lower than me.
Yeah.
That's for sure. But I mean, I've been doing high alpha knife edges since 2000. As a matter of fact, when I started doing it here in the United States, the industry turned against it. They said it was too dangerous. Their air shows wouldn't hire me. People in the industry tried to put me out of business because of that. But nowadays, you can't be a Pitts airshow pilot and not do a high alpha knife edge.
Yeah.
So I love the fact that Paul's trying to emulate me. I mean, I know people used to want to be Shawn Tucker, and now if Paul wants to be Skip Stewart, more power to him. I mean, I'm flattered by the fact that he's trying to be me. I think that's pretty cool.
Paul, he said it, not me. Skip, one last question. How many horsepower is in your pits?
My pits, like I said, the engines are built in California by Lycon, and we say that it's 400 horsepower. They normally dyno in the high 380, 390 range. The one I'm flying here, the show today, dyno 388. Sometimes we get 392 out of them, but real close to 400 horsepower.
Pleasure meeting you, Skip, and all the crowd wants to see you and hope you have fun up there in the skies here at Sun N Fun.
Yes, thank you very much. Hope everybody comes out. Pleasure talking to you today. Thanks for having me.